Hello everybody, welcome to Silverstone. We're just a couple of moments away from the 10th race of the International GT Open season, as we've just got 5 races to go as we head towards the climax of what has been an absolutely fantastic season of racing. This is the 5th of 7 stops on a grand tour of some of Europe's finest circuits. Let's hello from Ben Evans as you join us on a very blustery and overcast afternoon here at Silverstone. The race has got the threat of rain hanging over it as there are showery clouds moving in onto the circuit as we speak. However, this is the car that's going to start from pole position. Fran Rueda in the Teo Martin Motorsport BMW, who was involved in a thrilling duel for pole position with his teammate Antonio Felix da Costa during qualifying earlier on. Eventually it was decided in favour of Rueda. The Spaniard alongside Victor Bouveng, currently 4th in the championship standings on 60 points. Ahead of him, 3rd in the points, it's Philip Fromavilla and Albert Costa on 66 points. Thomas Biaggi on 70 points and Giovanni Venturini on 72 points. And the championship leader, Giovanni Venturini, is going to line up 3rd on the grid in the car that he is sharing this weekend with Marco Mappelli, and Raffaele Giammaria, who shares with Thomas Biaggi this weekend, starts from 5th. So it's going to be a very interesting looking grid. The pit lane opening has been extended by 5 minutes. It's open for 10 minutes just for the drivers to do some sighting laps. So we've had a few spots of rain falling before they form up on the grid. There is the Jordan Racing Bentley of Michael Meadows, and Jordan Whitley finished 3rd in the Pro-Am class yesterday. And Michael Meadows doing a great job in qualifying to line that car up in 10th place. Well, there is Marcello Hahn. Conversation with Jesus Pereira, the CEO of GT Sport, who are the championship organisers of the International GT Open. And Hahn can afford to smile because Alan Cadet, in his DriveX Mercedes, has qualified in 6th place, 2nd in the Pro-Am class. So Fran Rueda doing a couple of sighting laps in the BMW. Rader and Bouveng, they've been victorious in the last 2 Sunday races that we've had at Paul Ricard and the Hungaroring, and that's really done a great job of propelling them into the championship battle. And there is Mikel Mack, who came into the weekend tied in points at the top of the standings. He and Miguel Ramos are now 5th in the points, also with 60 to their name. Had a wretched day yesterday, well outside the points. Mikel Mack able to qualify in 7th position. The winner of the Pro-Am class yesterday was Sean Balfe, with whom we ride on board with now. and Sean will start from 20th place on the grid. It was an incredibly competitive qualifying session. So we've got to do now. That is the car of Giovanni Venturini and Marco Mappelli, the championship leading Giovanni Venturini. Looks like it's awaiting some tyres to be fitted. Hopefully no issues for that car. The pit lane is open for another 6 minutes. They've got plenty of time to ready themselves. Here is Vitantonio Liuzzi, the wheel of the Triple F Racing Lamborghini Huracan. It's not been the easiest season for Liuzzi and Hiroshi Hamaguchi, but lining up in 17th today. A race of potentially unpredictable weather that could swing in their favour. Corm Ledergaard just stopping in at the Garage 59 pit box before getting back on his way. Here is the car that won yesterday's race, Philip Fromavilla and Albert Costa. Fromavilla going to start from 12th on the grid. And given the results of Venturini and Biaggi yesterday, it meant that Swiss-Spanish driver pairing unable to leapfrog into the championship lead despite the victory, because Venturini finished second, Thomas Biaggi finished in third. And with now the success handicaps for those leading combinations in the championship, that is why this is a golden opportunity this afternoon for Fran Reda, Victor Bouveng, Miguel Ramos, Mikael Mack, and also Dominic Farnbacher, who starts in 8th in the Farnbacher Racing Lexus, to really make a claim on their championship chances. That is the #1 car, Raffaele Giammaria, alongside Thomas Biaggi. And if you're thinking, well, why are Biaggi and Venturini not together? Well, in order to strengthen the title chances, the 3rd Imperiale Racing Lamborghini was entered for this weekend, and the driver pairing of Biaggi and Venturini splitting. Thomas Biaggi racing alongside Raffaele Giammaria and Marco Mappelli in to partner Giovanni Venturini, with still Vito Postiglione and Andrea Fontana as the pairing of the 3rd of the Imperiale Lamborghinis, which is going to line up in 9th place. Well, Corm Ledergaard took Pro-Am pole earlier on with an excellent performance that's been good enough to line him up 4th on the grid altogether. The Frenchman, who partners Alex West at the wheel of the Garage 59 McLaren, they've been having a solid season. They're still there or thereabouts in the Pro-Am Championship, because that is currently headed by Sean Balfe on 50 points. Second in the Pro-Am Championship is Marco Ciocci on 46. Valentin Pierberg is 3rd on 38. Marcello Hahn is 4th on 36 points. West and Ledergaard 5th on 34 points, but with still 50 points left on the table. That 14-point deficit is eminently chaseable. Qualifying was heavy going for the Wessex Vehicles Lamborghini of Ricky Christodoulou and Craig Dolby earlier. It was Christodoulou at the wheel, and unfortunately for Ricky, he lost his best laps due to track limits infringement. So he's going to be starting in 21st place, but a very quick driver, very quick car. And they'll be hoping to push on through the field. The grid starting to form, the pit lane only going to be open for another couple of minutes as the more dark clouds beginning to mass over the circuit. Another car to watch for today is the Mercedes of Ryan Ratcliffe and Phil Keane. The Mercedes making its debut, that pairing looking to challenge for a podium or a victory today, but Ryan Ratcliffe 15th on the grid, but we're hoping that the race swings in their favour. Antonio Felix da Costa into position, 2nd. Very, very rapid Portuguese driver alongside Lourenco Beirão de Viega, who has had plenty of bad luck this year. Lourenco Beirão de Viega. As Marco Mappelli strolls towards the grid. Last chance to convert. As Giovanni Venturini is now going to have to try and pick his way through. It is a very, very crowded grid. There you see the distinctive SPS Automotive Mercedes of Valentin Pierberg, yesterday's runner-up in the Pro-Am class, but qualifying 24th this morning, alongside another of the Pro-Am Championship challengers, Pier Giuseppe Perezzini. And yeah, of course, Ferrari, it shows just how high the standard in the International GT Open is this year. The AM class, headed by Nono Figueiredo, in the Sporting New Mercedes from Martin Conrad. So Fran Reda, last conversations with the team. Good luck handshake from Victor Bouveng. Fully concentrated on the task ahead. The same for Antonio Felix da Costa. Deep in concentration. Wheel of the second Teo Martin Motorsport BMWs. Out-qualified by just 9/100ths of a second. Marco Mapelli inspects the Michelin tyres. Caro Giovanni Venturini just feeding back a little bit how much heat he's got into the Michelins. Just one or two drops of rain starting to fall on the grid as well. Com Ledegaard. Wheel of the Garage 59 McLaren, looking to challenge for Pro-Am class victory today. Good chance they may well get that result. Raffaele Gianmaria in 5th. Very welcome return to the championship for the very rapid Italian. He's always had great success and partnering with Thomas Biaggi, a very, very strong driver lineup. Alan Cadet, alongside Marcello Hahn, second in the Pro-Am grid in the Droitz Mercedes. And Cadet, for much of qualifying earlier on the cusp of getting into the front row of the grid, and then he got shuffled late on. It's been a tough weekend for Mikel Mack and Miguel Ramos in the Spirit of Race Ferrari. From 7th on the grid, what can Mikel Mack do? Certainly relaxed in the car. For Dominic and Mario Farnbacher, the Farnbacher Racing Lexus, they are still in the championship hunt. Dominic Farnbacher 6th in the standings. He's only 20 points off the lead of the championship. 2 wins already to his credit this year. Andrea Fontana and Vito Postiglione 10th in the championship, with Vito Postiglione chasing a 3rd podium of the year. And completing the top 10, Michael Meadows and Jordan Witt in the Jordan Racing Bentley. Car they thought had top 10 potential in qualifying. Meadows proved that to be the case. And now can they press on for a 2nd Pro-Am podium of the weekend? And then 11th on the grid, the FF Course Ferrari of the very experienced, very quick Johnny Molam, one of the very, very best in the business over many years. I'm sure that he's going to enjoy the chance to mix it up inside the top 10. For Philip Fromenvilla and Albert Costa, points today is the name of the game. They've got 15 success seconds in the pits as a result of yesterday's victory. And this is our AM class pole sitter, Nono Figueiredo, the Sporting U Mercedes that he shares with Marcio Basso. Again, that's drivers in the cockpit, and then Martin Conrad, who has been incredibly quick all year in the MS Racing Mercedes that he shares with Alexander Raquina. For GTM title success. And the Ryan Ratcliffe and Phil Keane, piloted Lee Mole, entered Mercedes. Ryan to take the start. Lot to do from 15th, but it's a driver combination that could certainly do it. And 16th on the grid, Davide Rizzo, alongside Alex Masev in the Kaspersky Ferrari. They finished 3rd in the AM class yesterday. And Rizzo, particularly the potential to make up a lot of ground. It's going to be a busy afternoon for Vitantonio Liuzzi, right in the thick of the action, the Triple F Racing Lamborghini, as he and Hiroshi Hamaguchi pursue their 2nd Pro-Am podium of the season. Kang Ling in 18th, alongside Eduardo Liberati. The Raton Racing Lamborghini getting better and better with each and every round. Pace setters in testing on Friday. Manuel da Costa and Miguel Sardinia, winners in the GTM class yesterday. In the other Sporting New Mercedes, start from 19th. They also lead the GTM Championship standings. And then completing the top 20, Sean Balfe, the Balfe Motorsport McLaren, alongside Rob Bell. It's a big weekend for the Balfe Motorsport team. They've got lots and lots of guests here at Silverstone. Ricky Christodoulou, 21st on the grid. 6 vehicles Lamborghini. So a magnificent field of supercars. This is how they line up in full for today's 60-minute race. Fran Raider and Antonio Fitz-Costa and all Teo Marti Motorsport front row. Then Venturini and Com Ledegar, competitive second row. Raffaele Gianmaria and Alam Kadir will certainly mix it for the lead from row 3. Michael Mack and Dominic Farnbacher on a points hunt. Vito Postiglione and Michael Meadows could well prove wildcards for the outright podium. Johnny Molam and Philip Fromenvila will enjoy the cut and thrust of the dicing. Very competitive battle ahead in the AM class between Nino Figueiredo and Martin Conrad. Ryan Ratcliffe and Phil Keane will be pushing for an outright race podium. Liuzzi and Kang Ling the chance once more to go wheel to wheel in the Lamborghini Hurricanes. Manuel da Costa and Sean Balfe competitive row 10. Ricky Christodoulou and Mauro Calamia will be looking to carve through the field. For Perezzini and Pierberg, it's all about the Pro-Am Championship points. Well, umbrellas up time. The rain that we have had has just been a few spots. We haven't had a shower yet. So the car's underway on the formation lap ahead of the 10th race of the 2017 International GT Open season. Thank you very much for joining us here at Silverstone this afternoon. We've got a 60-minute race to look forward to. There is, of course, the mandatory pit stop that comes between the 24th and 36th minute of the race. So that is going to be a 12-minute period where strategy is going to start to come into play. We'll see some under and overcuts. They're all on the control compound Michelin tyre as we duck inside the FF Course Ferrari of Johnny Molam, and you can see the windscreen wiper on the go. The track that at the moment looks substantively dry. Not everybody with the windscreen wipers. Just 5 races, including today, to go in the championship. Recap on the point situation. Giovanni Venturini leads the standings on 72 points. Thomas Biaggi second on 70. Philip Fromenvila and Albert Costa third on 66. Fran Raider and Victor Bouveng fourth on 60, as are Miguel Ramos and Michael Mack in 5th. And then Dominic Farnbacher 6th on 52 points. And with 15 points available for the win, then that means that there is still everything to race for. The track looking as dark and gloomy as it has done at any point in the weekend. As we go in car with Sean Balfe. You can see just how busy it's going to be for him. 24 cars charging into Copse Corner for the first time on a slightly slippery circuit. I'm going to hope towards stay out of trouble. Headlights ablaze for Michael Meadows as he comes out of the loop into Aintree and down the Wellington Straight, and now definitely as damp as it has been all day. Now, as far as we could tell from the grid, they're all starting on slick tyres, but this could be one of those races where we start to see people ducking in and out of the pits, playing the tyre strategy, the cost of a pit stop to switch to wets versus what you might lose from struggling on the slicks. All of these plot lines will unfold over the next 60 minutes. As Fran Rueda paces the field alongside Teo Marti Motorsport teammate Antonio Felix da Costa through Luffield. Row 2, Giovanni Venturini and Com Ledegar. Then it's Raffaele Gianmaria and Alam Kader. The timing screen tells us there is rain at Copse Corner. This is going to be quite the frantic start as we get ready to go racing once more here at Silverstone. The red lights are on. The thunder builds, out go the lights, and away we go. Who gets the jump? It's a very good start from Raffaele Gianmaria, but he's all boxed in as they shuffle into Copse for the first time. Somehow the front of the field all avoids contact, although lots of them running very wide, including Com Ledegar. All three Imperiale Lamborghinis together. It's 4 wide further up through the field as Fran Rueda leads into Beckett's for the first occasion. Then it's Antonio Felix da Costa, Com Ledegar, the trio of Lamborghinis, then Alam Kader from Dominic Farnbacher and Michael Mackers. Farnbacher goes on the grass, pushing onto the hanger straight. In car with Johnny Molam. He can see just how aggressive it is as they head down the hanger straight for the first time. And it's Giovanni Venturini who's got the jump of the Imperiale Lamborghinis. Michael Mack to the inside of Kader. That's going to be very tight through Stowe. Oh, and problems behind. It's Johnny Molam who goes around. He sends Michael Meadows scattering and avoidance. Meadows rejoins. I think Johnny Molam should as well. And it's very slippery as they arrive into the Vale. Dominic Farnbacher pushed off by Kader. Farnbacher repays the compliment. Philip Fromenvilla tries to take evasive action, so does Ryan Ratcliffe. And it means there's a bit of a gap in the field as the leading 6 cars have all broken away. Michael Mack heads the train in 7th. As already Antonio Fitzcosta looks to line up a little bit of pressure. It's Vitantonio Liuzzi who's come up superbly. He's into 8th place, and it's Dominic Farnbacher 9th into Village and the Loop. So the order is Fran Rueda, Antonio Fitzcosta, Com Ledegar, and Giovanni Venturini, Raffaele Gianmaria, and Vito Postiglione, Michael Mack, Vitantonio Liuzzi, Alan Kader, and Dominic Farnbacher. On the brakes into Brooklands, and this is so difficult for the drivers. It's a voyage into the unknown. Where is it slippery? Where isn't it? And Fran Rueda has got the difficult task of being the first on the scene. Leading group of cars all cleanly through after the sort out that we had earlier on the lap. I don't think we've had any casualties altogether either, which is good. Through Copse Corner, pack thundering past. Figueiredo leads the AM class, 13th overall, as Da Costa and Rueda try to gap the field. Com Ledegar, well, he'll be hoping it rains. If you recall his absolutely scintillating drive at Spa, and the rain really came down. And here's another look at what happened into Stowe, and just breaking traction in the FF Course Ferrari. Johnny Molam going around, Michael Meadows taking evasive action. There you see how it felt for Johnny. Broke away very, very quickly. He may have just had a little bit of a tap on the way into the corner as well. Just destabilised the car. Oh, and Da Costa goes to the move. He makes contact with Fran Rueda. Antonio Felix da Costa went for the lead, made contact with his teammate, and it opens the door to Com Ledegar through club. They're almost 3 wide. Da Costa's got the advantage, and here comes Giovanni Venturini and Raffaele Gianmaria. They sandwich Com. They're all contact between Ledegar and Gianmaria. Com Ledegar doing everything he can to hold on to that third. He's pushed off the road by Venturini, and Ledegar's going to rejoin at some point into Village-ish, and he now loses out quite a lot of ground, Com Ledegar. I think somewhat unimpressed by the strong arming of the Imperiale Racing Lamborghinis as Com Ledegar regains the track down into about 7th or 8th place. He's going to lose out in the lead of the Pro-Am class here to Vitantonio Liuzzi as the Imperiale Lamborghinis flying in formation. 3rd, 4th and 5th position, and that all started because Antonio Felix da Costa took the lead away from Fran Rueda. Com Ledegar saw the opportunity for a little bit more, went for it, and it didn't quite work out. And just didn't want to back off, and as a result, ends up losing a little bit of time as he rejoined the circuit. He's going to challenge Liuzzi into Copse Corner. Liuzzi has none of it, chops across, says no you don't. Retains that 7th place. Ledegar runs a little bit wide. They've got Alan Kader, Dominic Farnbacher behind them. Then Philip Fromenville. You can see the wind that's buffeting our cameras. The track very, very dark, although the rain hasn't come down, so they can keep racing. Frenetic it is. Can't believe we're only 5 minutes into the race. Down the hanger straight. Antonio Fitzcosta breaking clear of Fran Rueda. 3rd place Venturini. 4th Gianmaria. 5th is Vito Postiglione, 6th Michael Mack, 7th Vitantonio Liuzzi, 8th Com Ledegar, 9th to Alam Kader. So those are the top 3 cars in the Pro-Am class, all running as one. And we've got Dominic Farnbacker, Philip Fromvilla, Ryan Ratcliffe, Nona Figueiredo, Martin Conrad. It's been a good start to the race for Mauro Calamir in the Solaris Aston Martin. He's come up through the field very well. It's a case of, well, where do you look? Headlights ablaze. They fight their way through Abbey and Farm on towards the heavy braking zone at Village. Dominic Farnbacker thinking about lining up a little bit of a move on Alam Kader. Nothing doing. Has a look to the outside at the loop as well. Then we'll look for the switch back as they come towards Aintree and the Wellington Straight. Here's another look at this move from Tony Fitz-Costa over the sausage curb and just gently into the door of Fran Rueda. Lorenzo Beirao de Viega's face, I think, tells you about all you need to know. And that then is the recovery of Com Ledegaard. So frustration for Ledegaard. He was up there fighting for lead of the race. He's now got a fair amount of ground to make up, even when he can find a way past Vitantonio Liuzzi. And you don't get to race in Formula 1 for Red Bull for nothing. So Liuzzi is going to be a formidable man to overhaul. There is Sean Balfe, just behind Manuel da Costa, fighting over 19th and 20th. As yet, we've had no casualties. And the front of the field just beginning to stretch now as Giovanni Venturini easing away from Raffaele Gianmaria. Now here comes Com Ledegaard, trying to draw alongside Vitantonio Liuzzi in the Triple F Racing Lamborghini, and Ledegaard's going to go through. The Garage 59 McLaren gains the position, and then just slithers a little bit wide at Stowe. Moves back across, and now Ledegaard's released into some clear air. This is going to be Com's chance to really challenge, see how quickly he can get onto terms with Mikkel Mack. Out of club corner, Thomas Biaggi, which is from the pit box. And this is one of the most frenetic openings to a race we've had so far this season. Some brilliant dicing. Very, very aggressive driving on the brakes into Village. Still Dominic Farnbacker trying to clear Alam Kader. Meanwhile, Martin Conrad's got Kang Ling and Michael Meadows tucked up right behind him. Well, at least in the gloomier conditions, you can easily pick out the Raton Racing Lamborghini with a very distinctive gold livery. Here's our race leader, Antonio Felix da Costa, trying to stretch the field. And the Teo Martin Motorsport BMW the same for Fran Rueda. There is the man himself, Teo Martin. So he watches his 2 cars. They are 1.5 seconds up the road from Giovanni Venturini. Then we've got Raffaele Gianmaria and Vito Postiglione. Mikkel Mack trying to close up to both of them. And then Com Ledegaard, now he's got some clear air, seeing what else he can do. Into Beckett's, headlights ablaze for Raffaele Gianmaria, using all the traction that's available to him in the Lamborghini. Got the Spirit of Race Ferrari, Mikkel Mack, sitting right behind him. And what's so entertaining about this race is all the championship contenders really are there together on the track, dicing as one. Com Ledegaard trying to bridge the gap to them. Gianmaria just a little bit more tentative maybe than teammate Postiglione through Stowe. Dominic Farnbacker again pressurises Alam Kader from Villa just behind. 11th place, and then the gap back to Ryan Ratcliffe and Nono Figueiredo. Not too far adrift either of the pit window opening. That's only going to be another 14 minutes or 7 laps. So for Antonio Felix da Costa, he just needs to press as hard as he can in the BMW, build that buffer over the rest of the field. Again, through the loop. Throttles applied. Out of Aintree onto the Wellington Straight. Mikkel Mack running a little bit wide. Com Ledegaard trying to close up on to Michael Mack, and then on the brakes into Brooklands. This is a tricky corner. It just looks as if it's a little bit slippery as well. As Gianmaria starting to back up Vito Postiglione. It's going to allow Michael Mack and Con Ledegaard before too long to possibly close in onto this group of cars as they come through to complete the 5th lap of the race. It's Miguel Ramos will take over from Michael Mack mid-race. Just a little bit wide through Copse for Gianmaria. The same for Ledegaard, who flashes his headlights at Michael Mack. The challenge is going to be, where can the McLaren overhaul the Ferrari? Is it going to be along the hangar straight? Because with the wind that we've got today, the slipstream effect is much more pronounced. And in particular, the drivers after the Euro Formula Open race that preceded this one saying the crosswinds into Abbey were making things very tricky. Rest of the order fairly stable as here comes Ledegaard. He's going to have a look at Mack. Rest of the field streaking down the hangar straight. The Ferrari and McLaren doing battle. This could be position gained before too long for Con Ledegaard. It's just a case of where he can catch Michael Mack by surprise. They've also got Vito Postiglione, who's not had such a good lap, beginning to slip into the clutches of Michael Mack as well as they turn into Abbey. On towards Farm. Already Ledegaard and the McLaren just trying to look to try and set up a move on the Ferrari. Can't do it on the brakes into Village. Braking distances these GT3s so short with the ABS and all the aero that's available to them. Likewise coming out of the loop. So a little bit of a bobble over the curbs. Ledegaard then down the Wellington straight. Mack using more road than the McLaren. And does that suggest that Ledegaard is maybe on the cusp of pouncing? He looks the inside into Brooklands. Michael Mack semi leaves the door open. Just gives Con Ledegaard some racing room. Mack, though, then has got the inside line for Luffield. Takes a big bite of curb on the way in. And then Ledegaard looking for the switchback. You can't really achieve that through Luffield, so he settles in for a ride behind the Ferrari once more. Towards Copse Corner. Alex West will take over the car mid-race, and he can smile because Ledegaard's gone through. Runs a little bit wide through Copse, but he's done the job. It's a lap in the making, and now the McLaren will feel it has got some unfinished business with the Lamborghini Armada and is off in pursuit, first of all, of Vito Postiglione. Tony Fitz-Costa still leads, then Fran Rueda, Giovanni Venturini in third, Raffaele Gianmaria fourth, Vito Postiglione fifth, Ledegaard sixth, Max seventh, Antonio Liuzzi eighth, Alan Kader ninth, Dominic Farnbacher in 10th. The rest of the field still all in fairly close contention with each other. Here's another look at the move from Ledegaard to the inside. Slips past. Job done. Now Michael Meadows in pursuit of Kang Ling. This the battle for 15th and 16th. Got Martin Conrad just ahead of them. Also got Davide Rizzo in the Kaspersky Ferrari chasing them down as well. This is gone to the Jordan Racing pit wall. There's Jordan Witt, who will be in the car mid-race. Michael Meadows taking evasive action from that spin from Johnny Molam on the first lap of the race. Means that he's been shuffled down the order a little bit, trying to recover some ground. They've also got a few success seconds in the pits to consider as well after finishing on the podium yesterday. It was already Antonio Liuzzi getting onto terms with Michael Mack in the Ferrari. So the Lamborghini Huracan of Antonio Liuzzi settled into the car. Really nice low profile of the Lamborghini. Shooting the Ferrari 488. Alan Kader coming with them as well. The Trivex Mercedes. Ledegaard just about a second up on this group. Then we've got the first of the Lexus of Dominic Farnbacher just behind. And then Philip Fromenvilla. So the championship leader, Giovanni Venturini. The challenge for Venturini is going to be the success seconds for him come pit stop time, because he and Marco Mapelli have got an additional 25 seconds in the pits. For Thomas Biaggi and Phil Giammaria, it's an additional 5 seconds. For the other cars in front of the field, it's none at all. So for Venturini, he's pushing hard. Marco Mapelli is going to have to push equally as hard later on in the race, because there's lots of cars in and around them who've got no success seconds at all. Flash of the headlights from Com Ledegar as the move comes from Michael Meadows on Kang Ling. We didn't see the start of it, we've seen the end of it, and immediately Ling under threat now from Davide Rizzo in the Kaspersky Ferrari, as Rizzo looks to challenge the inside of Ling as they head towards Abbey. That's a brave move from Rizzo as he looks for space that wasn't really there, but he's able to draw almost alongside the Raton Racing Lamborghini. Ling moves around the road, gets on the brakes, down through the gears, turns into Village. And being shuffled down to 15th place. Rizzo currently third in the AM class as well, by Martin Conrad and Nuno Figueiredo. Here is another look at it. Meadows to the inside of Ling, pushed out wide. Pushed out very wide over the grass, and that's why he was a little bit slow when he did rejoin. And now Rizzo able to sneak his way past at Luffield. Through. Does he? Goes Davide Rizzo. Yes, just about does. Ling looks to fight back as they head towards Copse Corner. Brilliant nose to tail dicing this as they swoop through Copse. They're about to be joined by Mauro Calamir in the Solaris Aston Martin. Solaris team not had the easiest of years, but the car looking as ever immaculately prepared this weekend. Calamir recovering well from a difficult qualifying. Into the pit lane comes Martin Conrad. Unfortunately, that is unscheduled and out of sequence, unlikely to be good news, as here comes Calamir to challenge the inside into Stowe. But again, Ling just able to defend, to cover the ground. Slithers wide. Calamir looks to then try and fight back as they get on the brakes. Just some investigation at the front of the Mercedes. Try and see what the issue may be. Now here is our race leader, Antonio Felix da Costa. Da Costa is lead over teammate Fran Reda, 2.3 seconds. Then we've got Giovanni Venturini in third. Giammaria in fourth. As da Costa winds through Luffield. Pit window will open in about 3 laps' time. So we'll start to see a little bit of a different complexion to the race. So accelerate through Woodcote. Touch wood, the feared rain as yet has not arrived. So we're being treated to some wonderful wheel-to-wheel dicing. So Venturini looks to pursue Raider, Giammaria, and Thomas Biaggi. This could play into the hands quite nicely. An outright race podium again on the cards for Giammaria and Biaggi. Com Ledegar leads the Pro-Am class at the moment from Vitantonio Liuzzi and Alain Cadet. And after a few laps of chasing, Ledegar is not too far adrift now of Vito Postiglione, something that Ledegar reminds the Italian of by flashing his headlights at him. Sets the car up for Stowe. Leaves some tyre trails on the circuit as we anticipate the Com Ledegar's going to stay out reasonably late in the pit window in this race. He's going to be able to stay out until there are some 24 minutes left on the clock in car with Johnny Molam, and Johnny is just behind Manuel da Costa in the Sporting New Mercedes. Da Costa having a little bit of a wobble through Stowe. And this opens up the chance for Johnny to challenge. Can he do it? Or he closes right up under braking as they then kick through Club Corner. Meanwhile, it's been a good couple of turns for Vito Postiglione, who would appear to be a little bit further away from Com Leathergar once more. As the race leaders all pound down the Wellington Straight, with Mac still just clear of the Utsi, who's got his mirrors filled, with Alain Cadet, and then Dominic Farnbacher rounding out the top 10. Applying the throttle on the way out of Luffield through Woodcote, which in the dry is really a non-event as a corner. In the wet, can be pretty formidable now. Cobb Leathergar's team manager has been summoned to race control with immediate effect. Find out what that's for in a few moments' time. Farnbacher trying to chase down Alain Cadet. Likewise, Fran Rueda appears to be a little bit closer to Giovanni Venturini on the base of that last lap. So lots of the field at the moment. The position's not changing in this immediate phase of the race, but the gaps proving to be very significant as Ryan Ratcliffe still under pressure from Figueiredo. And Ratcliffe has got Phil Keane poised and ready to go. And Ryan Ratcliffe's deficit to the race leader, Antonio Fitzcosta, only 18 seconds. And compared to yesterday's race, where Albert Costa really stretched the field in the early stages, this time around it's not been the case so much at all. The top 10 cars only separated by 14 seconds, and that's the sort of ground that is eminently make-upable, either if there's a slow pit stop or through a late race charge. Especially as the pit window opens in only a couple of minutes' time. As the Bracer Mercedes accelerate out of farm, then get on the brakes to Village. Lovely shot there into the cockpit. You can really see the drivers at work, still sitting in low profile at the wheel of the car, and then accelerating through Aintree onto the Wellington Straight. This is the 11th lap of the race. Rob Bell confers with the Balfe team on the pit wall because we are approaching the pit window opening. Thank you very much for joining us here at Silverstone today, the 10th race of the International GT Open season. We are just over 1/3 race distance. Antonio Felix Costa leads, Fran Rueda second, Giovanni Venturini third, from Raffaele Giammaria in fourth, Vito Postiglione fifth, ahead of Com Leathergar, who leads the Pro-Am class, Mikael Mack seventh, Vitantonio Liuzzi eighth, Alain Cadet 9th, Dominic Farnbacher 10th, Philip from Villa in 11th, Ryan Ratcliffe in 12th, Ryan Figueiredo in 13th, who leads the AM class. And there is Phil Keane, who will take over in that bright red Mercedes from Ryan Ratcliffe, possibly as soon as at the end of this lap. Meanwhile, Com Leathergar, who's just set the fastest lap of the race, is right there with Vito Postiglione. Kang Ling has had 5 seconds added to his race time for a track limit penalty. Seemed somewhat inevitable once the team manager was summoned to race control. Meanwhile, Venturini definitely getting to terms with Fran Rueda. It's going to be an absolutely fascinating second half to the race, particularly as you're going to have a couple of cars from some of the big teams all running quite closely together. We'll see team tactics coming into play, remains to be seen. Around the loop, and then the acceleration through Aintree, just letting the car run, let the throttle build. Back towards the pits as a challenge. Here comes Giovanni Venturini to the inside of Fran Rueda. Well, looked as if Venturini was a little bit closer to the Spaniard, so it has proved to be. Just as the pit window opens, and there's the reason why. Raider in to pass over to Victor Bouvin. So that really releases Giovanni Venturini to try and chase Antonio Felix da Costa. Another look at it, down the Wellington Straight. And the Lamborghini coming from a long way out, just about alongside enough Fran Rueda to make it impossible for Raider to really squeeze him out. And now Raider rolls to a halt in the pit box. Matteo Martin Motorsport team ready to get to work. Looks like there's going to be New set of tyres onto the car. Same as well for Albert Costa. He'll take over early on from Philip Frommenwieler. They've got, remember, the additional 15 success seconds. Mauro Calamir also in to pass over to Francesco Cini. And so this is what we would anticipate would happen, is a flurry of pit stops at the start of the pit window and probably a flurry at the end. Ricky Christodoulou not had the easiest time of it, so Craig Dolby will jump into the Wessex Vehicles Lamborghini. And likewise, Rob Bell to take over from Sean Balfe. Out at the front of the field, Antonio Felix da Costa continues on his way. The lead over Giovanni Venturini, 3.5 seconds. And da Costa, no rush to come in. Meanwhile, Valentin Pierberg passes over to Tom Onslow-Cole. The SPS Automotive Mercedes not been the easiest stint for Pierberg nor Pier Giuseppe Perezzini, who hands over to Marco Ciocci. So they have got Pro-Am Championship points to chase. Through Luffield towards the end of lap 13. Antonio Felix da Costa is being caught a little bit by Giovanni Venturini. This is always the challenge with the BMW, is it can eat its tyres if you push it a little bit too hard. So Venturini, 0.6 quicker in fact than da Costa on that last lap. And then we have got Vito Postiglione next along, and that means that Raffaele Giammaria is in to pass over to Thomas Biaggi. Promotes Com Ledegar up into 4th place. Giammaria leaps out of the Huracan. Biaggi clambers in. The Pirelli Racing mechanics, they're going to be pretty busy as Giammaria just connects Biaggi to the radio. On the brakes into Stowe for Antonio Felix da Costa. Another change as Eduardo Liberati takes over from Kang Ling and Raton Racing Lamborghini. Kang Ling having to work very, very hard in the early phase of the race. All that dicing going on around him, and that he was in the thick of. So we've had about half the field completing their pit stops. The other half continue to dice on track. It's been a good start to the lap for Antonio Felix da Costa, but what can the Lamborghini Huracan Venturini do through Abian Farm? Trying to chase down the race leader. He was 0.6 quicker last time around. He's lost a little bit of that through first section on that. Meanwhile, back in kart with Johnny Molam, still behind Manuel da Costa. It's pretty much exactly as we were. Is Molam going to be able to make the move here on da Costa? He looks to the inside into Vale. He should go through. We don't see the Mercedes, and that's a very well done move from Johnny Molam as he then moves up through the gears at Club on his way. Giovanni Venturini still attempting to hunt down Antonio Felix da Costa. Again, it's through the middle sector on the lap, where Venturini is about a second quicker than the BMW. So cross line goes to Costa, a 2 minutes 3.0, a 2 minutes 2.4 for Venturini, another 0.6 gained for him. And so, more ground gained. The gap between the pair of them just 2 seconds as we approach half race distance. Into Beckett's. Lamborghini Huracan, since its introduction, has just been such a strong all-round package. This car that's quick in a straight line, handles well. And now Venturini, he's got another 6 minutes or so to play with. Might fancy his chances of challenging for the lead, but then of course he's got that far longer pit stop when he hands over to Marco Mappelli. Meanwhile, Davide Rizzo in to pass on to Alex Moiseev in the Kaspersky Ferrari. Looks like no new tyres either for Moiseev, just an adjustment to tyre pressures. We're also getting reports of light rain out on the far side of the circuit, but looking at the drivers at the moment, none of them have got the windscreen wipers on. Suggests that if it is raining, it is very, very light indeed. Out of Farm on towards braking point at Village, through the right-hander, then to the left-hander at the loop for Antonio Felix da Costa. Pit window closes when there are 24 minutes left on the clock, and there's definitely a bit of rain now on that section of track. Now here is a look at that move that we rode in car with Johnny Rowland for. Look from the outside. Beautifully judged. Here is how it was from Johnny. Really well done. Now a look at Mikael Mack to the inside of Marco Ciocci into Brooklands, which appears to be increasingly slippery. And yet windscreen wiper on for Giovanni Venturini, not the case for Antonio Felix da Costa. Of those that have pitted, it's Victor Bouveng, who is currently the foremost. He is 10.2 seconds up the road ahead of Thomas Biaggi. And it's Phil Keane, who's a further 9 seconds back from there. But you've got a lot of quick drivers who will then slot into position once their pit stop's been completed. In comes Michael Meadows, hand over to Jordan Witt. Also in is the Sporting Mercedes with Marcio Basso about to take over. We've also got news of a penalty for Com Ledegaard. A 5-second penalty added to Com Ledegaard's race time as a result of, I think, the way that he rejoined the circuit. So Ledegaard and West, their pursuit of the Pro-Am class victory. Now West, to get that, needs to win on the road and by more than 5 seconds. Meanwhile, Giovanni Venturini's just slipped back a little bit for Antonio Felix. So there is Marco Mappelli, awaiting the arrival of Giovanni Venturini. Confirmation of that penalty to Com Ledegaard and Alex West at the bottom of your screen. Through entry onto Wellington Straight. This is the section of the track where it just seems that there might be a little bit of precipitation, but then from our commentary box, which is just by race control, looking for the window, there's no rain spots coming against that, so any rain that we are getting is very light and very patchy around the circuit. And going round for another lap is Giovanni Venturini, so Marco Mappelli is going to have to wait right until the close of the pit window. Meanwhile, this is a battle between Dominic Farnbacher and Alain Cadet, and Cadet under real pressure from Farnbacher. Having a nip and tuck battle really all the way through the course of the race. Flash of headlights from Dominic Farnbacher, trying to overhaul Cadet, but to no joy. Just wonder whether or not the Farnbacher racing team might benefit from bringing him in and out of traffic, trying to feed Mario Farnbacher out into a slightly emptier section of circuit. Bouveng, by the way, continuing to stretch his advantage over Thomas Biaggi. Ledegaard still in pursuit of Postiglione. Then it's Ciocci who's a lap down and the spoiler in that pack, really. But Antonio Liuzzi remains second in the Pro-Am class, so a really good opportunity for a good result for he and Hiroshi Hamaguchi. Marco Ciocci, an uphill challenge. But he's clear of Tom Onslow Cole, so that means that he and Perezzini may well take some points off Valentin Pierberg. It's turning through Abbey, then Farm. Mikael Mack circulating in 5th. Be interesting to see where Miguel Ramos gets fed back into the race. They really could do with taking some points from the race. They got nothing from yesterday, and having been right up there, Paul Ricard and the Hungaro ring, good result is needed. Down the Wellington Straight once more, getting towards the end of the pit window, so everybody who's not yet pitted in should do so at the end of this lap, because they're not going to have time to do another lap before the pit window closes. Here we go then. Into the pits comes Antonio Felix da Costa and Giovanni Venturini. Lorenzo Bear out to Viega will take over from da Costa. Marco Mappelli from Venturini. Vito Postiglione Hands over to Andrea Fontana. Com Ledegaard to Alex West. Mikael Mack to Miguel Ramos. Vicentonio Luzzi to Hiroshi Hamaguchi. Alan Kader to Marcello Hahn. Mario Farnbacher in for Dominic Farnbacher. And then Ivor Dunbar from Johnny Molam. Garage 59 McLaren mechanics get to work. Very smooth pit stop, isn't it, from team Unhurried. The same for the Spirit of Race Ferrari squad. As Mack straps Ramos in, and here then is the car that may well assume the lead of the race, which is Victor Bouveng at the wheel of the Teo Martin Motorsport BMW. He's going to try and get the jump on teammate Lourenco Beirao de Viega through the pit stops as Bouveng accelerates out of Woodcote. Cars rejoining as we watch the pit stop for Johnny Molam and Ivor Dunbar. Turning through Copse Corner is Victor Bouveng, and there is teammate Lourenco Beirao de Viega. So Beirao de Viega is going to emerge in the lead of the race, pursuing first victory in the International GT Open. Andrea Fontana it is who heads out of the pits in third in the Imperiale Racing Lamborghini. Alex West then in fourth to lead the Pro-Am class. The FF Course team finish work. So there is the race leader, Lourenco Beirao de Viega. Second place, Victor Bouveng. Third, Andrea Fontana. Fourth and Pro-Am class leader is West. Fifth is going to be Marcello Hahn. Second in the Pro-Am class. And then sixth is Hiroshi Hamaguchi, third in the Pro-Am class. Seventh is Mario Farnbacher. Eighth, Thomas Biaggi. Ninth, Miguel Ramos. And 10th is Marco Mappelli. So that is the order, as Ramos about to be passed by Mappelli at the back of your picture. So Marco Mappelli goes around Miguel Ramos, demotes the Portuguese driver to 10th. More points for Mappelli in the championship. And then 11th place, it's Phil Keane. 12th is Albert Costa. And that top 12 covered by 32 seconds. So now, with a third of the race to play with, the pit stop's completed. If the weather worsens and wet tyres are needed, they're all going to have to come back in again. So Lourenco Beirao de Viega, it's not been the easiest season, a lot of bad luck along the way for him. As a result, he's not yet got onto the outright race podium, but this an opportunity for him to do so, and possibly even to score a race victory. Giovanni Venturini putting in a really good drive. Look at Farnbacher Lexus challenging the Lamborghini, and that is Mario Farnbacher going around the outside of Hiroshi Hamaguchi, gaining the place. The question is now going to be whether or not Victor Bouveng can chase down the 5 seconds or so to Lourenco Beirao de Viega. From a championship perspective, the extra 3 points for Bouveng could be very, very handy. For Andrea Fontana, Vito Postiglione, a chance to gain more ground. Alex West then, this a really good opportunity for he and Com Ledegaard to take Pro-Am class honours, except of course to say, remember that 5-second penalty for West and Ledegaard. And at the moment, Alex West's advantage over Pro-Am class rival Marcello Hahn is 5.087 seconds. So West needs to build that buffer over Hahn. Might be helped a little bit here by the progress of Mario Farnbacher. Tries to challenge Hahn, who's got, oh, is that something that's going pop in the Mercedes? Smoke coming out the back of it as Hahn gets on the brakes into, or a lot of smoke coming from the Mercedes. Hopefully it's just tyre rub. Fear it might not be as the smoke screen continues to grow. Mario Farnbacher right behind Marcello Hahn. And then next along it's Thomas Biaggi. Then it's Marco Mappelli. He's already overhauled Hiroshi Hamaguchi as well. If it was oil onto the rear tyres of the BMW, we'd have possibly seen rotate. Oh, there goes the rotation from Marcello Hahn. So the car kicks around on him. Now that's good news if you're Garage 59, because it really builds that 5-second buffer in the Pro-Am class. Now, here comes Phil Keane in pursuit of Albert Costa and Miguel Ramos, and Keane looking for an outright podium. Albert Costa looking to try and make the move on Miguel Ramos with an eye towards championship points. Defence from Ramos. Oh, it's all kicking off, and another spin from Marcello Hahn. And really, the team should be on the radio to him saying, please park that car, because he's had 2 spins now and possibly left a little bit of a trail around the track. It means that Ramos hesitating into Brooklands as the Mercedes rotated. He lost the place to Albert Costa. He may also lose out to Phil Keane before too long. As they sweep through. Let's another look at that first spin for Marcello Hahn. Yeah, that looked like something slippery going onto the tyre, because the car certainly didn't seem to be in the point of breaking traction. And now Keane goes around Ramos. So the place gained for Phil Keane. The next target is Hiroshi Hamaguchi, who is as a challenge, and it is Marco Mappelli to the inside of Thomas Biaggi. So Marco Mappelli, despite the success seconds, is absolutely flying in the Imperiale Racing Lamborghini. Up into 6th position. And once he's cleared Mario Farnbacher, the next car in the train is teammate Andrea Fontana, plus Alex West as well. So here's another look at the move from Marco Mappelli. Launches the inside Thomas Biaggi. Biaggi thinks better of fighting it. Gian Maria and Postiglione watch anxiously. So amongst the Teo Martin Motorsport BMWs, well, Victor Bouveng currently lapping a second a lap quicker than Lorenzo Beirao de Viega. 13 seconds is Beirao de Viega's advantage now over Andrea Fontana in 3rd. Fontana 7 seconds clear of Alexander West in 4th. Then Mario Farnbacher, Marco Mappelli about to do battle for 5th and 6th. Thomas Biaggi is 7th. Albert Costa in 8th. Phil Keane is 9th. Hiroshi Hamaguchi is 10th and 2nd in the Pro-Am class. Jordan Witt in 11th place is Miguel Ramos. Jordan Witt is 12th, 3rd in the Pro-Am class. Marcello Hahn has been given the black and orange flag, so he will need to pit in before too long. There's all sorts of battles to watch for here, because Rob Bell is chasing Jordan Witt. That 3rd place will become in the Pro-Am class. Here's the Pro-Am class leader, Alexander West. He's got Mario Farnbacher all over his tail, and West doesn't need right towards the Pro-Am Championship to fight the Lexus too hard. Farnbacher takes advantage of the toe, down the hanger straight. The McLaren pretty punchy in the straight line, and West didn't really want to give that to Mario Farnbacher, but the Lexus drew alongside. Mario Farnbacher, at the current pace, might just reel in Andrea Fontana between now and the flag. And certainly at the pace we're seeing from Marco Mappelli, he will. More adventures for Marcello Hahn. And he's given a black and orange flag. He's coming to the pit lane now. Yeah, you can see the fire underneath the car. There's Mappelli, now looks to challenge West. This is the battle for 5th and 6th place. Into the pits for Marcello Hahn. Drivix Mercedes mechanics get to work inspecting inside the engine bay. 2 disappointed drivers across to the pit wall. Now in the background, Mappelli still being delayed here by West. West fighting for overall position here. Potential of an outright race podium. It's not exactly going to leap aside for Marco Mappelli, is he? So the Imperiale Racing Lamborghini has to follow in his wheel tracks. And Mappelli not close enough to challenge into Copse Corner either. If you cast your mind back almost a year ago, West putting an absolutely formidable drive under great pressure at Monza. And he's looking to do much the same to Marco Mappelli here, as Mappelli looks to the outside into Beckett's and now sides through. Brave move from Marco Mappelli. Had to push really hard. And he gains the place. West, though, continues as the class leader. A reasonably comfortable margin as well. And now the next challenge is Albert Costa, looking to challenge Thomas Biaggi. Now this is interesting as Costa goes through past Biaggi, because that is a move potentially with some championship significance. Costa taking a few more points off Biaggi. Closing the gaps again at the top. Oh, and a problem for West. Or does he just back out of it through Vale? The Garage 59 McLaren. Oh, that's such a shame. Just seeing if dipping the clutch is going to have the desired result to get the car fired up, but it seems as if the McLaren has sadly ground to a halt. So West in trouble, out of the race, just as 50 minutes to go. That car was looking very well poised for a class victory. So now that promotes Hiroshi Hamaguchi to WAM class, promotes Jordan Witt to second in the class, and is going to promote Rob Bell and Sean Bouth to third in the Pro-Am class, and more points for them in the Pro-Am Championship. Look here again, the McLaren just seems to be all out of drive. Costa responds, so does Biaggi. Thereafter, the car pulled into retirement. The cutthroat signal not exactly denoting good news. So now the two BMWs, Fran Rueda and Victor Bouveng, chasing their third victory of the season, but in order to achieve that, Bouveng has got to work around his teammate, Lorenzo Beirao de Viega. So frustrated Alex West awaits retrieval. The race leaders, they're 12.5 seconds up the road from Andrea Fontana, who is being caught hand over fist by Mario Farnbacher. And then Marco Mappelli still riding behind Farnbacher. Albert Costa flying in the Emil Frey Racing Lexus to try and close up as well. Meanwhile, here is Miguel Ramos trying to do battle with Hiroshi Hamaguchi. Ramos looks to the outside, then the inside, squeezes past the Lamborghini. It's a good move from Ramos, puts him up into 9th place. So we've now got a real chase that's on for 3rd place in the race between Andrea Fontana, Mario Farnbacher and Marco Mappelli, also Albert Costa. And then the fight for the win with Victor Bouveng now just 1.6 seconds adrift of Lorenzo Beirao de Viega. Here we go then. Bouveng getting ever closer. Now the difference between victory and 2nd place is 3 points. So we get 15 points for the win, 12 points for a 2nd place finish. Given the championship situation, if this were to happen, and a victory for Rueda and Bouveng, that would put them on to 75 points, with Giovanni Venturini looking like they will score 6 points, should bring them up to 78. So it's going to get very, very close still at the top of the championship, as Ivor Dunbar gets lapped by both BMWs. As Bouveng closes ever closer, of course. If Bouveng was finishing 2nd place, then he and Fran Rueda would be on 72 points at the checkered flag. So the two Teo Marti Motorsport BMWs running in formation, and this is exactly how the team had hoped the race would unfold, locking out the front row of the grid and thereafter really being in control of proceedings. We've still got, though, 10 minutes to go. 3rd place Andrea Fontana. He's only 5 seconds up the road from Mario Farnbacher, who has got Marco Mappelli hunting him down as well, with Albert Costa, the quickest car on the track at the moment, in 6th. As now, Lorenzo Beirao de Viega is being caught by Victor Bouveng. This is the opportunity for Bouveng to make the move as they come down the Wellington Straight. Just wonder if Bouveng's going to look to the inside of his teammates as they head towards Brooklands. It's a good heavy braking point. He's not quite close enough, so Beirao de Viega moves across, claims the line into Luffield again. Around never-ending right-hander. Then the sprint on towards Copse Corner. 5 laps remaining, so that's what Victor Bouveng knows he's got to play with. And the plus side here for Bouveng is there are lots of opportunities around the Silverstone circuit to make the move and make it cleanly. Going to have a little bit of traffic to contend with as well before too long. In the AM class, by the way, it's currently Alex Moisev who leads that from Marcio Basso and Miguel Sardinia. The Pro-Am class is now Jordan Witt, who leads that from Hiroshi Hamaguchi and Rob Bell. And Rob Bell is closing very, very quickly onto both Witt and Hamaguchi. So we've got all of these battles that are coming together late on. This is the fight for the lead of the race. The Pro-Am class is quite possibly going to change. It's only the AM class that looks like it's settled. Right, through club. Throttle applied. Both BMWs. You can see the two Sporting Mercedes, they're busy battling over second and third in the AM class. Not exactly what the Teo Martin Motorsport BMWs want to encounter. At the moment, this is a nice close battle for the lead. Obviously, they both know where the car is strong because they are, to all intents and purposes, but for some individual setup preferences, identical. But now, Lorenzo Berard Viegri is caught up behind Miguel Sardinia as he comes onto the Wellington straight. Hope that the Sporting Mercedes man has seen him. This also opens up the opportunity, maybe for Victor Bouveng. Oh, and just sliding through goes Berard Viega. Also, Victor Bouveng able to squeeze past. The next target is Marcio Basso. So one car cleared and that drama completed. Blue flag being waved at Basso as the brace of BMWs, headlights flashing, charge on their way. And it looks like it's going to be fairly straightforward, actually. That's really nice management of the race from the Sporting New Mercedes drivers. Their battle uninterrupted, nor is that for the race leaders. So through Beckett's we go. Riding over the curbs, then out of Chapel Curve. And down the hangar straight. Punching the hole in the air. The breeze continues to stiffen. Just a little bit of a look to the inside from Victor Bouveng, but he can't force the mistake from the Renko Berard de Viega at the point at which they arrive into Stone, nor on the exit. The road just drops away into the Vale, then climb up, slight incline on the brakes. Meanwhile, here is the battle for fourth place between Mario Farnbacher, Marco Mappelli and Albert Costa, and they're only 2.5 seconds back from Andrea Fontana and continue to catch Fontana at a rate of 2 seconds a lap. So this is going to be a three-way scrap for third before too long, and we've got a lot of, well, three cars in the championship fight all running together. Mario Farnbacher just clear of the Imperiale Racing Lamborghini, then Albert Costa watching and waiting behind. You see Andrea Fontana ahead of us. Meanwhile, the BMWs still running together. This is one of the best finishes to a GT Open race we've had so far this season. Every position on the podium is still up for grabs as Victor Bouveng pursues Lorenzo Berard de Viega down the Wellington straight. Again, he shows himself in his mirrors. Again, he can't get within more than a car's distance. Under braking, it's down to half a car's length. They come through Brooklands. They sprint towards Luffield into the right-hander. Still nothing between them. They get on the throttle at the same time. We're talking hundredths, thousandths of a second here. The Teo Martin Motorsport BMWs hurtle through. Just under 6 minutes on the clock. So they're going to have time for 3 more laps, including the one that they've just started. And meanwhile, Marco Mappelli's found a way past Mario Farnbacher. So Mappelli past Farnbacher. And that is going to be significant for the championship because Mappelli's going to have plenty of time to catch Andrea Fontana between now and the flag. As out of Chapel Curve, down the hangar straight. Lorenzo Berard de Viega, he wants this. So does Victor Bouveng. But Berard de Viega, mathematically at least, still in a championship battle. albeit with an awful lot of ground to make up. He wants to claim a victory in the International GT Open as Bouveng looks to the outside through Vale, gets on the throttle through Club, pursues his teammate. And this is always so difficult because you know exactly where they're strong, exactly what the car's capable of, and also that it's a very, very long walk to the airport if you make contact with him. As a little bit of a look from Bouveng to the inside of the Renko Berard-Viego, who makes the mistake at Village, slithers wide, gathers it up, tight line through the loop for Lourenco Berard-Viego. Now, what about the battle behind? Still, Mario Farnbacher is able to withstand the pressure from Albert Costa, but they're all right up with Andrea Fontana. Meanwhile, through Brooklands, Bouveng continues to chase Berard-Viego. 2 laps to go as they accelerate out of Luffield. They've both been given a track limits warning, which they will both probably completely disregard. Even though they both got a 5-second penalty, they'd still be triumphant in the race. Out of Copse Corner, and Bouveng, he knows that he can go that little bit quicker. He's able to push his way past. Turn Fitz to Costa, watches, listens as Berard-Viego just a little bit slower, maybe through Beckett's. That said, he's just that bit smoother. He's not hustling the car in quite the same way that Victor Bouveng is. The 2 BMWs, it's like Mansell and Piquet here down the Hangar Straight in 1987. And now Bouveng thinks about selling the dummy to the inside of Lourenco Berard-Viego. He's got one more crack after this one into Stoke. He's got a lap and a half to try and find a way past and move into a very prominent position in the championship. Again, just breaking that little bit deeper into Vale, then around through Club. The BMWs as one, as they have been for the last 3 or 4 laps. Meanwhile, Marco Mappelli's right with Andrea Fontana in the fight for third, so that is likely to change. Oh, and a spin from Mario Farnbacher. Farnbacher goes around at Vale. That promotes Albert Costa as Farnbacher rejoins. And again, Berard-Viego just a little bit wider through Village. There's nothing doing there, though, for Victor Bouveng. As the Portuguese is able to defend, the pair of them head down the Wellington Straight for the penultimate time. Oh, here we go. And Mappelli is past Fontana, and so is Albert Costa. Is he? Andrea Fontana. He and Albert Costa have got previous this season. Think of Spa. And Andrea Fontana re-engages it, so Marco Mappelli goes third. Remarkable driving around of the success seconds that he had, and now Mappelli goes third. He is going to get a huge hatful of points, 10 points for Giovanni Venturini, and that's going to propel Venturini to about a 7-point championship lead, depending on how the rest of the race unfolds. Albert Costa, though, needs to clear Andrea Fontana. They're in with Marcio Basso and Miguel Sardinia as Costa's got the run, and Andrea Fontana heading towards Copse Corner for the final time, and Costa's going to go for it. Great move, Albert Costa, to the inside of Andrea Fontana. He's still got to clear Marcio Basso on the exit. That's going to give Fontana the chance to fight back as they're almost 3 wide into Beckett. Brave, brave stuff. But Costa goes fourth. He's lost contact with Mappelli. Sardinia now back with Basso. Here's the fight for the lead. Half a lap remaining. Lourenco Berard-Viego and Victor Bouveng. Does Bouveng roll the dice? That is the question. Or does he settle for the 12 points for second? Again, deep into Vale. He's rapidly running out of opportunities to overhaul his teammate. Lourenco Berard-Viego, this would be a magnificent way to score a first victory for the Teo Marti Motorsport BMW team in the championship. But now here comes Bouveng. He's just a little bit too far back. Tries to force the mistake from Berard-Viego. It doesn't happen. Bouveng has now only got really one valid chance. That's into Brooklands. It looks to me as if he's coming on to the Wellington Straight. A little bit too far back from Lourenco Berard-Viego. The team all clustered around the monitors. This will either be a moment of great jubilation or possibly an epic level of hand-wringing, but Bouveng doesn't take any chances, doesn't risk a roll of the dice to the inside line. So now it all comes down to Luffield for the final time. Remember last year, Gustavo Jackerman out sprinting to the line. Can Victor Bouveng do the same as Lourenco Beirao de Viega accelerates through Woodcote? He is going to take victory for the Teo Martin Motorsport team, who score a 1-2. It's Beirao de Viega and Antonio Felix da Costa who win it. Victor Bouveng and Fran Rueda finish as runners-up. And who is going to be third? It's going to be Albert Costa into third. Marco Mappelli has had a problem the last lap. Albert Costa and Philip Fromavilla take third. Marco Mappelli and Giovanni Venturini in fourth, from Andrea Fontana and Vito Postiglione. What an incredible final lap of the race. And here comes Miguel Ramos, he and Michael Mack to finish in 9th position. Around Luffield, accelerates to the flag, and Ramos takes 9th. In 10th, it is going to be, by my reckoning, Jordan Witt, who's going to win the Pro-Am classes. Imperiale Racing celebrate. Giovanni Venturini all smiles, as is Antonio Felix da Costa. Now across the line, Hiroshi Hamaguchi takes 2nd place in the Pro-Am class from Rob Bell. But for Teo Martin Motorsport, perfect day, near enough for them. Pole position and 2nd on the grid, race victory and 2nd place. Not much more they could do. 3rd place in the race going to Albert Costa and Philip Fromavilla. Again, great performance from Emil Frey Racing Lexus duo, who, with Costa overcoming Mappelli on the last lap of the race. We didn't quite see what happened there. Maybe Mappelli made an error, but then Mappelli recovers to 4th, which is going to give Giovanni Venturini a good boost in the championship, particularly as Victor Bouveng and Fran Rueda will be getting 12 and not 15 points as a result of finishing in 2nd rather than 1st. A look then at the final classification. The win for Beirao de Viega and Antonio Felix da Costa. Victor Bouveng and Fran Rueda in 2nd. Albert Costa and Philip Fromavilla in 3rd, and also the fastest lap, with Giovanni Venturini and Marco Mappelli in 4th. Vito Postiglione, Andrea Fontana 5th. Dominic and Mario Farnbacher in 6th, from Thomas Biaggi and Raffaele Giammaria. Ryan Ratcliffe and Phil Clean in 8th, ahead of Miguel Ramos and Michael Mack. Jordan Witt and Michael Meadows winning the Pro-Am class, 10th overall, ahead of Hiroshi Hamaguchi and Viet Antonio Liuzzi, 2nd in class, with Sean Balfe and Rob Bell 3rd in the Pro-Am class. Alex Moisev and Davide Rizzo win the AM class, ahead of Miguel Sardinia and then Marcio Basso. Disappointment for Alex West and Com Ledegar, their retirement. So in terms of the championship then, Venturini leads by 4 points over Costa and Fromavilla, with then Thomas Biaggi in 3rd, Fran Rueda and Victor Bouveng in 4th. But now the top 4 combinations separated by just 8 points, with 4 races to run. And we'll next be in action the 30th of September at the Monza circuit. Always a track and a venue that produces great racing and great drama. For now though, celebration time. Parc Ferme, a delighted Lourenco Beirao de Viega celebrates with Antonio Felix da Costa. Victor Bouveng likewise to congratulate Fran Rueda. Smiles all around. Really the perfect day for Teo Martin Motorsport. Rueda congratulates his teammate. Likewise, Philip Fromavilla and Albert Costa. A lot for them to enjoy. Thumbs up from Lourenco Beirao de Viega to teammate Victor Bouveng, because although that battle was so close, they kept it clean, they stayed out of trouble. Teo Martin congratulates Albert Costa. He and Philip Fromavilla, an unlikely podium on the final lap. Jordan Witt and Michael Meadows, top Pro-Am combination for the Jordan Racing team. The Bentley on the top step of the podium at home. We will hear from our race winners in a couple of moments' time. But that was an absolutely magnificent race. Not a moment to draw breath, dicing throughout the field for the whole 60 minutes. And another frantic close to the race.
Lorenzo Berau, Antonio Felix da Costa, first win of the year. That's great for you. Lorenzo, how was it at the end, resisting the pressure of your teammate Victor Bouvin?
It was tough. He was very fast at the end, especially when I broke up my front splitter. So I had a lot of understeer, very difficult to handle the car, especially in the fast corners. But I managed to handle the Bouvin behind. So very happy, first win here. Hopefully the first of many, with the great help of Antonio. So hopefully the future will be better even.
And there clearly weren't team orders because the start of the race was quite tough. Huh?
Yeah, I mean, we obviously spoke about it. You know, it was important to bring home the result for the team. Great job by BMW and Team Theo Martin. But yeah, I felt I was a little bit quicker than Fran. And I did kind of signal him. I flashed him to tell him that I was coming through. And yeah, eventually there was a bit of contact, but everything was fine. And then, yeah, tried to build a bit of a gap from there on to give the car to Lorenzo with a bit of margin. But yeah, very tough at the end. Lorenzo did a great job to hold it. And just very happy with the result.
Well done, guys. Podium is waiting.
A thrilling 10th round of the International GT Open Championship with Fran Rueda leading from pole position as the field charged into a very dark Copse corner for the first time. The front of the field, Antonio Felix da Costa and Fran Rueda did battle in the early stage of the race. This is the move that was sufficient to propel da Costa into the lead. Meanwhile, behind Com Ledegaard, who got shuffled down the field, did a fine job of fighting his way up through the pack, including this move on Michael Mack as we headed into the mid-race pit stops. Meanwhile, Johnny Molam, hard at work recovering from an early spin, making this move on Manuel da Costa. Post-pit stops and disappointment for Marcello Hahn, something letting go on the Mercedes, pitching him into a spin. Meanwhile, Marco Mappelli was on an absolute charge, overcoming the success seconds from yesterday's race victory. Likewise, Miguel Ramos pushing as hard as he could, moving ahead of Hiroshi Hamaguchi and up into the points. The front of the field, the BMWs were dicing throughout the course of the race, as Mario Farnbacher, another driver who got caught out, just pushing a little bit too hard. With Berau de Viega and Bouvin fighting at the front, the tussle was them for third, with Marco Mappelli, Albert Costa and Andrea Fontana all doing battle, but it was Renko Berau de Viega and Antonio Felix da Costa who took the win from Victor Bouvin and Fran Rueda, a 1-2 for Theo Martin Motorsport. Albert Costa and Philip Fromville home in third, with Jordan Witt and Michael Meadows winning the Pro-Am class, Alex Moisev and Davide Rizzo the Am class. So time for celebration on the podium and time for absolute jubilation for the Theo Martin Motorsport team. A lot for them to celebrate here in Silverstone. Locking out the front row of the grid and then achieving the 1-2 in the race. Third place for Albert Costa, Philip Fromville. That really helps their championship charge no end. De Bouvin and Fran Rueda, runners up. And then on to the top step of the podium. Antonio Felix da Costa, Lorenzo Berau de Viega. They celebrate. And Theo Martin onto the top step of the podium to celebrate his team's 1-2. Moment of great celebration, the Spanish national anthem in honour of the winning team. As we move on to the presentations, third place, Philip from Villa and Albert Costa. Potentially very important double podium for them, their first double podium weekend of the season. Victor Bouveng and Fran Rueda, their fourth trip to the rostrum so far, 2017. 2 wins, 2 second places. Lorenzo Berra de Vega and Antonio Felix da Costa, it's their first victory of the year, the first podium too. A moment of real jubilation, celebration, a great battle for the Teo Martin Motorsport team as they are triumphant in Silverstone. As the photographs completed, time to make merry with the bubbly. Lots of very happy drivers celebrating. And we will turn our attention now to the Pro-Am podium. Another very close Pro-Am battle as well. Eventually claimed by Jordan Witt and Michael Meadows after we lost Com Ledegaard and Alex Westcott from the lead of the class late on. So that promoted then Rob Bell and Sean Balfe to third place to cap a great weekend for them. Hiroshi Hamaguchi and Vitantonio Liuzzi, their second trip to the rostrum of the season. Partly in aid of a lightning start from Liuzzi. For Jordan Witt and Michael Meadows, a great weekend for them, a win and a third place in the class. So the Jordan Racing and Balfe Motorsport teams, a lot of guests here at Silverstone this weekend, as one would expect for it being their home race, and therefore we can expect some pretty loud cheering when the drivers do make it up on to the podium. The Pro-Am Championship battle going to go all the way to the line with Marco Ciocci and Tom Onslow-Cole both scoring points as well. So third place to Rob Bell and Sean Balfe. Runners up, it's Antonio Liuzzi and Hiroshi Hamaguchi. Great result for the Triple F Lamborghini team. And then Jordan Witt and Michael Meadows, Jordan Racing, celebrating on the top step of the podium. So move on to the presentation of the trophies. And in third place for Sean Balfe and Rob Bell. Runners-up, Hamaguchi and Liuzzi. And as the drivers celebrate on the podium, we will turn our attention to the next round of the International GT Open, which is on the 30th of September, 1st of October weekend in Monza. Always fantastic racing in Monza, particularly as this title fight goes to the wire. But it has been a fantastic weekend here at Silverstone. We have had 2 thoroughly enjoyable races, particularly today, which has been an absolute thriller. So as the drivers celebrate on the podium, it's time for myself, Ben Evans, to say goodbye from Silverstone. We'll see you in Monza in a couple of weeks' time.
So there we go, that's GT3 Pro-Am podium. Class podium, and that will be coming up in just a couple of moments when all of the celebrations of the podium are complete. Class podium presentation. Congratulations. Congratulations, many congratulations to all of you. Onto the podium for our Avatar's podium. And once again, we'll get the drivers onto the podium in reverse order, starting with third place in the AM class.
Last but not least, we move on to the AM class, and again, an excellent weekend of racing with in third place Miguel Sardinia and Manuel da Costa. Marcio Basso and Nono Figueiredo to second place. Great scrap between the Sport and U Mercedes, and then Davide Rizzo and Alex Moiseev for the Kaspersky team, celebrating AM victory at the end of what's been a great weekend for them, with a victory and a third place finish. And again, the AM Championship is going to go all the way to the wire as we head towards Monza and Barcelona over the next few weeks. Now the opportunity to be all smiles and celebrate on the podium. Davide Rizzo and Alex Moiseev receive the spoils of victory in the AM class. So now time to celebrate with the champagne, and then we will see you in Monza on the 30th of September. Until then, it's goodbye from Silverstone.
The girls have managed to escape the champagne, which is good news. And not everybody has escaped the champagne. And as they make their way off the podium, that concludes our podium presentation for the GT3 AM class. And they make their way off, they chink bottles, and will make their way round to the back to enjoy their celebration. And that concludes